Welcome into our weekly 5 Things to Watch edition of Beyond the Arc here on High School Cube News. Brian Chimino back with Michael O'Brien of the Chicago Sun-Times. The Stevenson Patriots, the #1 team since the preseason. And if they're going to stay #1, they're going to have to earn it. Big weekend, taking up #1 and #2. First, the #1 thing to watch, Friday at home versus #3, Lake Forest.
Is it a trap game? I mean, they've already beaten Lake Forest once. Simeon looms the next day. I mean, frankly, it's about time Stevenson had some challenges. I mean, I was trying to think of the last time there was a #1 team that I covered so little, during the regular season. There just hasn't been much there on their regular season schedule. They played some tough games out of state. The Findlay Prep, the Chaminade out of St. Louis, but there just hasn't been much. Lake Zurich's all right, who they've played, and now this is finally the second Lake Forest, and the run through Proviso, but really it's been a good month since they really had a challenge, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull it off this week. I think as long as Noah Karras from Lake Forest doesn't get super hot and hit a bunch of threes, I think Stevenson should be able to pull out the win against Lake Forest at home.
And the #2 thing to watch the very next day, Niles West High School, the City of Suburban showdown, #1 Stevenson versus #2 Simeon.
You gotta feel like at this point, this game means more to Simeon, right? I mean, Stevenson's the team that's been at state the last 2 years. Stevenson whooped Simeon last year. They all remember that in this game. It's got to be a big deal. Yeah, Simeon might be playing in the CPS title game the next day on Sunday, but I have to think that everything Simeon has done all season long has pointed towards this game and this day and proving to everyone that they can finally beat Stevenson and beat Jalen Brunson. It's going to be super fun. I mean, I don't have a really good idea which way this one's going to go. No one can stop Jalen Brunson. No one. I'm sure DJ Williams and Simeon is going to try, but I guess I'm going to pick Stevenson.
And with that, let's go on to the #3 thing to watch. Simeon could be playing on Sunday in the Public League Championship game, but first, the semifinals on Wednesday from Chicago State. First at 5 p.m., it'll be Bogan versus Whitney Young, and then at 7 o'clock, it'll be Simeon versus Uplift.
Yeah, the Young Bogan game should be fun. That's a tough one to pick. Bogan seems to have found itself. Right when a lot of people are ready to give up on them, they're really playing well. Young, though, has improved so much in the last month. I've been really impressed. I was not on board with this team a month ago. I was watching them struggle in some Red West games. Didn't really know if they were going to turn it around this season. They have. They're really tough, but you have to like Bogan. Bogan really is a perfectly set up high school basketball team. 3 guards who can dribble. James Jones, a great wing, and a big man, Antonio Thomas. You got to like them in this one. Simeon Uplift, I think it's better than Simeon Orr would have been, really. Uplift has a chance because they can shoot. If Spencer Foley can get hot from 3, maybe in a wild world you can see the upset, but at least there's a chance that Spencer Foley drains 7 or 8 threes and somehow Uplift pulls it off. And Uplift's going to be playing with wild abandon. This is the game of their life. It is their Super Bowl. They have nothing to lose. All 350 people at the school are thrilled, and they're ready to go, so it'll be a fun one to watch. And
then the championship game on Sunday at 7 o'clock. And then the #4 thing to watch, the Catholic League tournament Wednesday at St. Ignatius. Semifinals go like this: Hales versus Providence at 5:30, and then it's St. Joe's and Fenwick.
Yeah, you gotta, Hales is a heavy favorite over Providence. A great win for Providence over St. Rita. It's gonna be tough to pull off another one. Hales should be ready. They're focused. They're not a star-driven team. They're all about team. We've all heard all that. That helps you in a tournament like this. On the other side, we all know that our buddies St. Joseph's, they're awesome, they're horrible, they yell at each other and the refs. Who knows what's gonna happen? Fenwick and Rick Malnati is not intimidated. They've seen them. They're ready. They've got a plan. I've said this a million times. It gets old, but if Mike Ballard plays well, Fenwick is really tough to beat. And it's all going to be about Mike Ballard again. The weight of the world is on Mike Ballard's shoulders in this one. Mike Smith's great. Nixon's hurt, so Fenwick doesn't have all the firepower. You really have to like Joe's kind of to win the whole tournament, as long as they can just keep their heads on straight.
And the championship game, actually kind of cool, will be Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock at DePaul, so you could have a pretty good Saturday of high school basketball if you like.
Yes, definitely. The Catholic League kind of knows what they're doing. They were aware that the Simeon Stevenson, mega thing is going on. So it's in the afternoon. You can get over to Niles West after that game if you want. That's what I'll be doing. We could all carpool. It'll be fun.
And the #5 thing to watch, a Southwest Suburban Blue contest. It'll probably determine the conference champion. It'll be #15 Bolingbrook on Friday at home with Flossmoor.
We're going to keep talking about the South Suburbs. Nobody else is, but I will. Bolingbrook and HF are really good. They're both 10-1. Bolingbrook could wind up at state. They should, based on their path. But this is the game, kind of like St. Rita, where we haven't been sure about Bolingbrook because of the past. We don't trust them, but Bolingbrook is super talented. 3 or 4 D1 guys. They're on a roll, but they have to beat HF on Friday for everyone to believe they need this win badly. And HF has really turned their season around. You know, they had some football players early that were missing. They're a solid team. They just knocked off Hillcrest, sort of, a week or 2 ago. So this game means so much for Bolingbrook, and really so much for what everybody thinks of Bolingbrook. And if they can make a run, Prentice Nixon is a high scorer. He's going to have a big one.
And that is your weekly 5 things to watch here on Beyond the Arc. Before we go, our YouTube channel, please go subscribe where you can see all our videos, including Beth Long's weekly MVP segment, this time with Kenneth Perkins from North Lawndale. For Michael O'Brien, I'm Brian Chimino. We'll see you guys next week.